John, in your book, You Inc., you say that anyone can succeed in real estate. Even in this environment, do you think someone can succeed?
I think so, Kevin. I think if you take the right approach, these are the best times of all, because a lot of your competitors drop off. A lot of people start fearing the economy and start focusing on things that are sort of, I think, irrelevant to them. Like, what did the Dow Jones do last night? What's happening? What's the headline in the newspapers? So I think these are actually better times than ever, albeit we're probably at the end of the GFC, to be honest, but I think right through the GFC, we've had an outstanding opportunity for people to grow their businesses, probably better than any other time in history. Mindset's
pretty important, isn't it? Do you think blocking out a lot of those external influences that really we can do nothing about anyway is a good way to go?
Yeah, mindset is the key thing, positive attitude. So for whether you're an entrepreneur, a sales agent or a support person, your number one thing is to stay positive and just keep your mindset on the things that you can control. So my view is I actually block out all media that has a negative potential impact on me. I focus on things where I can control the input. I get a lot of information from Twitter, for example, because I subscribe to people. So my view is you've got to be very careful about what you let into your head. You watch the 6 o'clock news tonight, 30 stories, 29 negative stories. So you've got to ask yourself, is that the right way to condition your mind to the end of the day before you go to sleep? I think there are better ways.
John, what's your definition of success?
I think success it's got to be measured. I think most people today, Kevin, are better at it in a balanced fashion. So I think it's what makes you feel happy and delighted, and do you feel grows you? And if you're clear about that, and having a successful business, I mean, I'm all for success and the prosperity and the financial freedom it can bring people. I think that's real and that's important. It's certainly not the most important. I think, what's critical is health, what's critical is relationships, what's critical is a sense of contribution and connection. What's critical is making a difference. Now, a business can help you do all of those things, but you've got to be clear about what are the things that you really want to deliver in your life.
I often wonder, I walk into an office where someone's doing extremely well and someone sitting beside them, same opportunities, is really struggling. Why is that?
Well, I think, as we said before, it comes down to the individual and the individual's mindset. There's only two things that separate people, I think, two major things. One is their skill and one is their attitude. We often call it skill and will. So 0 to 10, what's your skill level? 0 to 10, what's your attitude level? You'll find the same person, the fact that they're sitting in the same brand, often working the same community with the same opportunities, and yet someone's bringing in $1 million in revenue for the business and someone's bringing in 100,000. If you were to interview them, the 100,000 person will start with excuses. Well, it's GFC, Kevin, haven't you heard about it? This is really tough, and I've got a small community, and I've just started in real estate. They'll have this proliferation of excuses as to why they're not. If you can get a chance to speak to the $1 million earner, but it's probably going to be hard because they're going to be focused and undistracted. But they're going to tell you, well, like a great opportunity, and I love helping people, and I work hard, and I've got a great organisation, I've got a great plan, I've got a great team, and I've developed my skills, and I'm ongoing learning, and every single day I'm filling my mind with positive. They're going to have a much better plan. So number one is get rid of your excuses. If you're not performing at a level that you know you could be or you should be, just drop the excuses and then start doing what the successful people are doing.
John, what suggestions would you have for someone who's in a slump? How can they get out of that?
Well, first thing, is remove negative influences. That can be people, that can be information, that can be input, that can be a whole range of things. So second thing is appreciate what we have. I mean, here we are living in the lucky country in what I think are fabulous times with more technology and more tools and the internet and things available to us than ever before to help us grow our business, grow ourselves. I mean, there used to be a time where you had to be wealthy to be well educated. Now you've just got to have an internet connection. And you can get onto YouTube and you get on the internet and you find any answer and interviews with famous people. So be appreciative, inspire yourself. I read quotes every day. I have apps on my phone that have little daily quotes. So it's do things that make you feel good, because I often wake up, not often, but occasionally I'll wake up and I've had a bad day yesterday and maybe my subconscious was working on overnight and I'm feeling a bit flat in the morning, and then I'll go onto Twitter and there'll be there'll be a quote there that talks about, the importance of, moving through challenges and getting to the other side and making you a better person. And that resets it in my mind, or shifts my paradigm back to where it should be. So I think you've got to inspire yourself. And the last one is not only remove negative people from your life, but include positive people. And sometimes you can do it face to face, occasionally if you know some people around you. Sometimes you can do it through things like your programs, audio programs, video programs, that are bringing you in touch with people. A lot of the people that I guess have in some ways mentored me, I've never met. but I've watched them. Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs example. I've watched video after video, I've read book after book, even though I never had the pleasure of meeting him. His philosophies were accessible to me. And I think that's really important. The philosophy and the teachings of great people are accessible to all of us.
John, I've heard you talk about an inbuilt success thermostat. What does that really mean? What does it mean to you?
So in essence, the success thermostat for me is you can achieve anything you want if you set your mind to it and you believe it. The problem is most people set something which is eminently achievable and it's not a great stretch because it's easy and because they, without stretching their belief system too much, they say, well, I can do 2 sales a month, no problem. Well, the problem is what if you could do 12 sales a month, but you never gave yourself the opportunity? So my question is, are you stretching yourself enough? Are you expecting enough? Because you will probably deliver what you set your subconscious as an expectation, not much more. So I'm all for, now, I'm not saying stretch it to a point where it's unbelievable for you. Can I run the 100 metres in 9 seconds? No, I can't. I don't believe that's a possibility. Could I be the world's best real estate salesperson or office? Yeah, I think I can. So, you've got to actually be able to connect with that. The problem is a lot of people have really they've down-traded there and they've shortchanged themselves so much on their goals. It's like turn up and you can hit it. That's not exciting for me. No wonder people burn out.
John, someone watching this right now, what steps can they take to improve their outcomes? What can they do right now?
Well, I think reality check of where you are and own your current reality. So don't say you're only doing 2 sales a month because the GFC. Just say you're only doing 2 sales a month because that's actually what you're doing in terms of your strategy, your energy, your skill level. So if you want to go to that next level, what are you going to do? Are you going to go and buy yourself a new suit, a new outfit? Are you going to get a business coach? Are you going to start joining the gym? Are you going to read a book a day? Are you going to start yoga or meditation? Are you going to start shadowing a great agent? What are the things? So build yourself a plan that works for you. Maybe you get to the office a half hour earlier and work a half hour later. Anything, most people out there, it's not, Kevin, the matter of can you do it? It's knowing what to do and then just doing it. Because all that stuff, I've just mentioned those things. If you started doing those tomorrow, you'd triple your sales in the next 12 months if you did them every day. But it's a matter of starting them.
Hello and welcome to our auction wrap-up from the last week. Geoff White will join us in just a moment from CoreLogic as we discover that 7 from 10 properties sell in Sydney as buyers step up and the market picks up steam. Geoff with all the details in just a moment.
Did you know you can save up to 70% on your staff costs by outsourcing the low-value, repeatable tasks so your team can focus on growing your business? Beepo is an outsourcing provider focused on the real estate industry. With an English-speaking, tertiary qualified and fully trained team in the Philippines, Beepo will give your business the boost it needs to start growing and returning value to you. For more information, visit beepo.com.au.
Welcome once again to Geoff White from CoreLogic. Gee, some good news on the weekend, didn't it? Wasn't it a turnaround, Geoff?
Yes, it was. Yes. Hello, Kevin. It definitely was. And before we go into the results, talking to some of the agents over the weekend, there was a lot more confidence out there. And I think even Tom Panos put up on social media on Saturday night that he felt there was more in the auctions that he did in Sydney as well. So, and a lot more people are out and about looking at opens and that sort of thing. So. Hopefully that's a sign of the times to come. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I talked to agents in all the cap cities yesterday, and they're all saying exactly the same thing. That the open home visitors were a lot stronger. Bidding was stronger at auctions. But anyway, we'll dig into the results. Let's have a look at the preliminary results for the cap cities. Sydney, of course, topping the country with almost 70%, 7 out of 10 properties. Wow, what a great result.
Yes, good result there, Sydney, and 69.9 from a healthy number at this time of the year of 697 auctions. So that's a very good performance. That'll obviously settle, as we know, and traditionally does by between preliminary and final. But I'd expect that to still be in the 60s.
I was going to ask whether you think it'll stay in 60s.
Yeah, I think at that rate it will. And based on the fact that we've collected the numbers that we have of the 697, I think, yes, it will. But anyway, numbers, percentages do funny things at times. But
they do.
Melbourne actually 62.9, which is actually identical to the preliminary clearance of last week. And it finished just over 60. So if that happens again this week, that Melbourne will also stay in the 60s from 971 auctions. Brisbane settled okay at 37. I think we were a bit higher last week, but more volume in Brisbane as well with 139 auctions, but still well within the ballpark there.
Yeah, good news. We sold our property too. Just a bit of an update.
Yes.
Ours sold under the hammer. We had good bidding, and it was a great auction. The guys at Ray White did a fantastic job though. Ray White Wilson did a fantastic job for us. So pleased to see that we're amongst the ones that sold under the hammer on the weekend.
Yeah, well, your property was a good one because it was right in the sweet spot for buyers. So I'm not too surprised about that, to be honest, Kevin. Well done, mate.
I'm pleasantly surprised. Canberra, okay. Interesting that Canberra's almost spot on with the weighted average for the nation as well.
Yeah, that's right. From 63 auctions, 62.3. And of course Adelaide, 57.5, pretty healthy. Yep. Really, from 135 auctions. So overall, Kevin, 62.6 from over 2,000 auctions to 2,041. So a good weekend so far.
Yeah, well,
and you will see how the week finishes. Yeah,
indeed, mate. Yeah, we'll catch up with you on Friday on that one. Let's have a look at the Sydney sub-regions, mate. I cannot get over North Sydney and Hornsby. Nearly 86% off 109 auctions. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It is. I sort of had to look at it twice. The highest number of auctions of any sub-regions and the highest clearance rate. So, atop the table on both fronts. In fact, the highest sub-region right throughout, including Melbourne. So, very strong market, North Sydney, Hornsby. Obviously, very good offerings this week. And, well done to the agents there. We've seen some other good results in Sydney as well, Kevin. The Inner West at 73.3 from 51 was a highlight. And you've got the likes of Ryde, 85.2 from 36. So some really good ones there, quite a few in the 60s and 70s. But, if I was auctioning in North Sydney, Hornsby next week, I'd be pretty pleased with the outcome of this week so far.
Yeah, obviously, as we said at the top of the show, buyers really stepping up. Market seems to be picking up steam. You'd have to have a lot of confidence in the Sydney market again now. Let's have a look at the Melbourne regions. Pretty uniform there too as well, I would think.
Yeah, everything above 50.
Yeah.
So the West was the lowest with 53.6 from 109 auctions. Still a pretty good clearance rate, and that can be a bit up and down from week to week. The highest being in the Mornington Peninsula. I haven't drilled into the types of properties sold there, but 83.3, only 25 auctions, but that's a pretty good result for the peninsula. But the rest are pretty much in that 60s, high 50s, low 60s, into the mid 60s. The big ones there with the inner parts of Melbourne from 216 auctions, 65.6, and you match that against the likes of Inner East at 66%, Inner South at 63.1, all very big numbers in those sub-regions. So hence a pretty stable clearance rate of 62.9 in Melbourne over the week. Yeah, so far. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to show you what those clearance rates mean to our wiggling graph, which we haven't shown you for a few weeks. We'll bring that up towards the end of the show. We're also going to take you through the top sales, and I've got to say, before we get to the Melbourne one, it's probably one of the most spectacular properties I've ever seen. Didn't take out the top sale in the nation, but gee, I tell you what, mate, what a spectacular home. Anyway, we'll show you through the Melbourne home in just a minute. I want to take you through Sydney first. Top sale out of Sydney was, in fact, the top sale in the country, 5.265 million. McGrath's at Coogee selling the property at 12 Arthur Street, Bellevue Hill. Angus Gorrie and Samuel O'Reilly. What a great home. And these photos, just spectacular with that pool and, the house looking over the pool as well.
Yeah, what a ripper of a property at 5,625,000. Yeah,
625. I had it
yeah,
the wrong way
yeah.
around. My
No,
apologies.
that's all right. There's a lot of numbers there, Kevin. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
there are.
Yeah, and well presented this home on the internet, as you'd expect for that sort of type of property. But a particularly good home, offering a lot of accommodation there. It's 658 square metres of land in that location, which is very sizable, offering a lot of bedrooms. When you see 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and 2 car, very versatile living, indoor, outdoor, lovely outdoor area, very tropical sort of surrounds around the pool at the back, and it also included a self-contained quarters as well, and yeah, lovely home, not far from Double Bay, Bondi Junction, all of the features there. So terrific result. Yeah,
over 3 levels, come into the mid level, and you go up and down. So I think the lower level was actually the self-contained area.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So terrific result from the guys at McGrath. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's take you to the Melbourne property, and this is the one that I think words escape me. This is just a wonderful looking property. Spectacular. Even the street appeal is just amazing. This property is situated 6 South Terrace at Clifton Hill. 4,515,000. Colin Sims, Anthony Harbour, and Anthony Woodley. 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2 car. I would love to own this home.
Yeah, it's a really nice home. Built around the 1890s.
There's a bit of history with this, I think, too, isn't there? Did you read up on that?
Yeah, I did. Renovated, and obviously had a lot of work done to it over the period of time. It has 3 zoned living areas. It's clearly Victorian in style, and a ripper property with 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Just one you wouldn't find too often. It got a lot of publicity in terms of editorials and that sort of thing. So yeah, well done.
What's the history there? I noticed one of the photographs we featured was Grace Darling. Do you know offhand the history of that?
No, I don't. Well, she was renovated by an architect owner, and that's it has former ownership by Grace Darling by the way it reads. So So parkland and city views too. 435 square metres, which is, for Clifton Hill is actually a good size allotment, and close to all the parks and everything up there. But Anthony Woodley, been with Colin Sims a long time, and really got a lot of marketing out of this one, and a great job. Yeah.
It looked to me from some of these photos we had there that the park is directly across the road too.
Yes.
Is that right?
It looks like it. That's right. And also, the fact that they've done what they've done to this property and maintained a lot of the original features. As you walk in, those really Victorian style features, and then just go out the back and it's transformed. It's amazing. Yeah. So it's a great mixture of the new and the old with this, and a lovely home. Great result.
Yeah. All right, I want to take you to the Brisbane market now. A couple of sales I'm going to tell you about here, because the sale actually that took out top sale of the week sold during the week, Wednesday, in fact, Wednesday 22nd, last Wednesday, 56 Wellesby Street at New Farm, 1,525,000, Ray White Ascot, Dwight Ferguson and Alexander Sheen, 4-bedroom. Let's have a look at some of the photos here, and this is a renovated typical Queenslander. That's the Queenslander style. Yeah, Geoff, very popular, allows a lot of breezes, but looks like a nice renovation. The agents have said that there's opportunity to add a few more touches to it, so I would guess, it's only a guess, that it was renovated a few years ago.
Yeah, it seems to read that way, doesn't it? And a lot of, prime position, and they've highlighted that in the description there, 506 square metres, 3-bed or 4th with an office, obviously with walk-in robe and ensuite, all of those sorts of things. But a very, very appealing home, presented very well, tastefully done. And I'm sure, the new owner could do other things to it. But a really good result. And as you say, a typical sort of Queenslander home, but very practical home because of the elevation, overlooking the pool at the back with that living area at the top there. it's a good result, a very good result, and I think the position probably really dragged them in this one there, Kevin.
Yeah, New Farm's the top spot.
Yeah.
The top sale, in fact, over the weekend was a property in Paddington, also on the close into the city. Sold by Remax, $1,155,000 for the property at 9 McCarthy Street at Paddington. So well done. A couple of good sales during the week out of the Brisbane market. Let's go to Adelaide, Geoff, and have a look before we bring up our wiggly, wormy graph, which I love to show, especially today. 140 Alexander Avenue in Toorak Gardens. I didn't know there was a Toorak Gardens in Adelaide, but there you go. So great home, this one. LJ Hooker selling it to Andrew Welsh. Andrew's done fairly well. I think we've featured Andrew in a top sale out of Adelaide in the past.
Yeah, I think we have actually. Yes, this particular home was part of the winding up of an estate. It was a home that was built, I think, around the 1914 period. Again, it's had same ownership for about 46 years, and it's a renovator's delight. This one, very original inside, but what an allotment! Over 1,000 square metres. Yeah. So it gives you the opportunity to do a lot of things here, but it does have, split system, air conditioning and fireplaces and, long driveway to the rear area there. But it's a great home to start to do something with. And, a good result too, terrific result.
I love the library in this one too, and all the books still in the library. I noticed that. Some of those windows, aren't they spectacular? You might see those windows at the front of the house there. I think they were beautiful LED light, just gorgeous.
Absolutely, and downstairs you've got to what would be a very original cellar. Yeah.
With that big wine barrel.
Yeah, that's right. So you could imagine just renovating all of that and just maintaining a lot of those features. So. A great result. Well done.
Yep, no doubt the owners there are going to have to roll their sleeves up a little bit. Hey, let's bring up my favourite graph, and this is the wiggly worm. Gives us the weekly clearance rate, combined capital cities, tracked since 2009. Boy, hasn't the last couple of weeks improved that? Look at that line.
Yeah, so the thin line is the weekly clearance rate. The thicker line is the 4-week average. Yeah. So you can see that it a couple of weeks ago sort of staggered a bit, but then it's again starting to take off a bit. So that weekly line is definitely heading north, and will be interesting to see how that 4-week average goes. So if we see national average clearance rates sort of in the high 50s, early 60s, we'll start to see that heavy line go further north. So, it's really looking pretty healthy. I mean, when you go back to, earlier on in the year, I mean, it was very much at a low point, and we're far from a low point now. So, the market is definitely been very resilient, and it started to bounce back, I think, a little bit earlier than a lot of people predicted. So, great time if you're looking to get out there and buy, because I think the market's on the move.
Yeah, well, last weekend or the weekend before last election result has certainly helped as well. That's going to buoy the industry up. So.
Yeah, the thing also, Kevin, is what we often see is activity precedes higher prices. So once you start to see more buyer activity at auctions and clearance rates starting to pick up, that necessarily doesn't immediately transfer into higher prices, although we do get some auction results that do go better than anticipated. But generally speaking, the results will follow. So once this activity picks up, you'll start to see median prices start to crawl back again. So,
Yeah, I think... we're going to see more listings come on the market because sellers will start to regain a bit more confidence, want to put it back on the market. So right now, if you're in the middle of marketing, full marks to you, because I think now supply is down just a little bit, demand is increasing. So if you're going to go to auction in the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to see some pretty good results. That's my view.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as educated as yours, Geoff, but that's my take.
No, I think you're right. Melbourne, being sort of a colder city, does tend to cram up a bit in the winter months with stock. So it'll be interesting just to see how we go this year. this time last year, we'd recognised the market was well and truly coming off. So this year, it's a different story. We're probably saying it's starting to improve. So it'll be interesting to compare stock levels, but you're certainly right, Geoff.
As always, Geoff, great talking to you. To a wonderful insight. Geoff White, of course, from CoreLogic, and they present this show and the show that previews the weekend ahead every Friday. So, Geoff, all the best, mate. Look forward to talking to you later in the week.
You too, Kevin. Have a good one. All the best.
Evening, Clara. Home, please.
David, what's on your mind?
I was just thinking of a different time is all. It was a time when I used to sit up there, you know. Driving wasn't just about being taken from place to place, but going somewhere. Feeling something along the way.
Please, David, you should relax.
I'm afraid that's just the problem.
David, where are you going? David? David?